What's up guys, War History Geek here, and welcome back to another new acquisitions video. So I'm a little bit behind on our new acquisitions videos. This year's just been a very busy year for me, so unfortunately some of my videos have fallen to the wayside. So today we're going to be taking a look at specifically the new acquisitions I was able to acquire while I spent 2.5 weeks in Germany in May of 2024. So again, a little bit behind here. However, it's still definitely worthwhile taking a look at some of these. Some of them are truly one-of-a-kind pieces. So with that, this is going to be somewhat of a longer video, so I'll just get right into it. So for starters here, we have a couple of very basic items, not in the best condition, but you can see here we have some East German parade flags. And I was mostly based in Wittenberg, Germany for this trip. I also stopped by Dresden, Leipzig, Berlin, and also went down to Munich for a couple of days. So these were two items I picked up in a small antique store in Wittenberg, Germany. And I think I paid like $1 a piece or €1 a piece for them. So even with the tears, I thought they were pretty cool. And I'll find a way to hopefully preserve them. Also, at the same antique store, I was able to pick up this, which is pretty interesting. It's a little bit too big for the camera, so I'm going to do my best to fit it in here. But as you can see, it's essentially like a handkerchief or a neckerchief, and it's East German. And this would have been handed out as a retirement gift for soldiers or officers retiring from the East German military. And you can see that this is signed by all the guys in his unit or in his group or whatever he might have served in. So pretty interesting here. Again, I think I only paid like €5 for this, so very interesting piece, and I was very happy to add it to the collection. Maybe I'll be able to research some of these guys, or maybe it'll just be an interesting piece of history. Moving along here, something a little bit older, we have a map for the men of the 38th Division 1905, or the maneuvers of the 38th Division 1905. So I'm not going to open the map all the way. I might include a picture here. But essentially, it's just a very generic map of some German terrain in 1905. And this shows, again, a little bit of pencil marks, but nothing really in here. Just this on the front cover told me that I wanted this, being from the German 38th Division training in 1905. Again, I only paid like €5 for this. So, I mean, you just simply can't go wrong with some of these prices if you're getting them directly from the source in Germany. So, very cool piece, very happy to add it to the collection. You really don't see a lot of this older German stuff in the United States, at least not for a fair price. So next here we have a very interesting piece that I have yet to be able to find another example of. Again, this I picked up at the same antique store of everything you've seen so far. This is a East German Army license plate. So not just any European license plate, but specifically an East German Army plate. This is Volksarmee, or People's Army, so pretty cool. The price tag says €30 on it. I'm pretty sure I paid like maybe 20. I got it in a group deal, so pretty cool piece here. I really wonder what vehicle this might have come off of, but I mean, how often do you come across something like this? This, I thought immediately, it grabbed my attention. I had to have it, and for what, €20? There's no question. Very, very awesome piece. Looking to maybe hang it up on a wall somewhere. All right, and next up here, we have a pretty interesting thing. So this was at a different antique store, also in Wittenberg. And you can see that these are actually stock certificates in a company. And it was Ulig in Welska Mühlenwerke in Allengesellschaft, or Allengesellschaft, yeah. So pretty interesting here. Again, I think I only paid €5 for this, so interesting piece of documentation, brand new, wrapped in the twine still. So actually, I believe this company was still in business as of the 2010s. I did some research a while ago. I don't recall exactly what it was, but you can see here that this is originally from the 1930s. So really, really cool piece. And even if it's not necessarily military related, it's a cool piece of German history that, again, I got for very, very cheap. Next here from the same store, they actually gave me this cigar box for free to carry this stuff home in. So you can actually see here that this is a German tax stamp on the cigar box. So pretty cool. Looks like it's from the Reichswehr era. But anyway, I mean, that alone, this cigar box is a cool piece, but let alone what I was able to carry home in it. So first here we have a coin. I think I paid €1 for it. ECU gold coin. I'm not exactly sure what it was for, Europa 2000. So if you guys know what this is, feel free to leave it down in the comments. It just caught my eye, so I thought I'd pick it up. So these are East German FDGB identification books. So again, I'll put up like a picture of a logo here or a short description of what they were, but these were all identification books that I got from the same antique store as the other East German stuff. And it's actually all from the same family. They're all different family members that all had books in this organization within the East German government. So pretty cool. You can see all kinds of cool stamps in here, and every single one is like that. So I was very happy to get my hands on these, and you can see they're from all different eras too. So this one's a little bit older, slightly different system with the stamps. We have another one here. As you can see, this one's 1962, so a little bit earlier. And just really cool stamps to look at here. And again, I haven't done a lot of research on the actual organization itself, but again, this was something that caught my eye. It was very cheap. I think I paid like a couple of euros a piece for each of these. So again, you just can't go wrong with this kind of stuff. Cool history. But also in here, we have a lot of coins. So I won't go into detail. I don't want to bore you guys, but we have some East German coinage here. We have some Soviet coinage here, and all kinds of other stuff mixed in. Here we have some Lenin head coins, of course. Mostly Soviet and East German. You just don't find a lot of that here in the United States, so I picked up quite a bit of it. Again, some more Soviet and East German stuff. Let's see. But yeah, so pretty cool there. Then we also have 50 Mark for, again, East Germany. East German paper currency is just hard to come by in the States. And then last but not least, we had this entire grouping of Soviet coin and currency for like €5 for the whole bag. So again, awesome stuff. Just simply can't go wrong. And I was super happy to add it to the collection. Let me get all this cleaned up and I'll move on to the next items. All right, so moving on here. This is a very just stereotypical, souvenir of Berlin. One of these store-bought souvenir shop pieces of the Berlin Wall. Honestly, I don't even know if they're real or not. They could be totally counterfeit. But again, I wanted to pick them up. It's a stereotypical souvenir of Germany. So while I was there in Berlin, of course, I had to get a piece of the Berlin Wall. Then moving along here, we have a couple of stones that I was picked up. This was picked up from the parking lot at the apartment building where the Führer bunker was once located. And I might be able to put a picture up here that I took there. But again, of course, it's not part of anything Third Reich related, but I wanted to have a stone to commemorate my visitation of what was a bucket list location for me to visit. And then here we have a piece of concrete from one of the flak bunkers in Berlin. And I'll put the picture and name of the one that I visited here. But this was a piece of concrete that I found along the essentially dirt sides of the hill that the flak building was built into. So pretty cool there. Of course, I can't confirm that as part of the flak building, but it's a piece of concrete that looks of the era. So I thought I would take it with me. In addition to that, we also have some rocks that I picked up at the, and again, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but these are stones from the place in Munich where all of the men that were killed in the beer hall putsch were buried. And again, I'll have a picture and the name up here. I apologize for not being able to recall that off the top of my head. But again, just some more stones I picked up, and I'm planning on making a shadow box with those because I have some original photographs. All right, and then last but not least, and the biggest chunk of this video, I wish I could go in detail, but again, I don't want to bore all of you, is a lot of German documents and photographs and all kinds of stuff like that. That was the main thing that I wanted to get while in Germany. That was, of course, plentiful over in Europe, not so much in the United States. So that was one of my goals going into Germany. So this binder here has German Feldpost in it. And as you can see here, just tons and tons of pages of all kinds of different letters, envelopes, Again, just Third Reich German Feldpost. So lots of cool stuff like this. Some of it I've translated, some of it I haven't. Most notably, one of these Feldpost groupings was one from a guy that was killed in action. And that is at least what the seller told me. I haven't done more research quite yet. And then also the other grouping is from one of the Fallschirmjäger regiments. And again, I'm sorry, I don't recall off the top of my head specifically which regiment that was. I will put up the unit name here as I'm editing the video. But again, lots of cool documentation and things like that. Here you can see this was a letter sent after the occupation began in Germany after the war. So lots of very interesting things in here. And I think I paid €10 for everything you see in this binder. Next up here we have German documents. So wide variety of items in here. Here we have a newspaper from April of 1945, right before the end of the war. It's published in Latvia, so that's a Latvian propaganda newspaper. And it actually has an article talking about Adolf Hitler fending off the Soviet invaders of Berlin. So I might put up a picture of that in there. That was one of the really interesting pieces I got. But again, keep in mind, almost everything in this binder I paid next to nothing for. The seller had them. He just wanted to get rid of them. He was selling it by the box load to me. So this was some of the stuff I picked up. This is from a veteran meetup in 1972. We have a death card here, Reichspost cards, NSDAP stuff, early political stuff from Germany. All kinds of really rare, interesting stuff in this binder. Stuff that you'll never find in the United States. Here we have a Kuskarte, which was a kind of a gag thing that soldiers would carry. And there's actually an article about that that I can link in the description. But again, all kinds of cool stuff. Membership books for various things. These are actually something I already had in the collection, but I threw in here. And then, of course, we have one of the most interesting documents, which was a itinerary for Gruppe Mittelland, the SA Führervorschule. So this was essentially a selection school that SA officers would go to before going to the Führerschule, which is, of course, the famous pictures where they would all meet Adolf Hitler upon graduation into the SA. So really, really rare document that I was not expecting to find. I sent this to a couple of friends, and this might be the only one of its kind in existence. Of course, I've already properly digitized it and everything else, and have made it available to people. So you can actually check out my website to see digital scans of that complete document. And there's a lot more in this binder here, but I'm going to move on to the next binder because, again, there's a lot of stuff to get through. So this is German photographs and postcards from the war. So on this side, we have some East German stuff and some other paper currency and things like that. But then on this side, we have lots of interesting stuff. We have German U-boats, combat photos, Panzerwrap. That's a SS Polizei. And again, really, really interesting photographs from Munich, from the Berlin Olympics. This one here is almost from a movie. You can see with the swastika flag, and then, of course, all the men underneath it on the beach. And, of course, it goes without saying that any of the ideologies presented on this YouTube channel, historical or otherwise, particularly like the Nazi Party, fascists, things like that, clearly I do not support them. They're disgusting ideologies that have no place in a modern society. But, of course, because it's the World War II period, it plays an integral role in our educational understanding of the subject. So, of course, anything you see depicted in this video is, of course, only for historical and educational reasons. And, of course, I don't support or condone any of the beliefs or organizations that I collect the items from. But anyway, so moving along here, we have photographs in training, celebratory photos, beer hall photos, all kinds of just really interesting stuff in here. So again, I won't flip through the entire thing. I gave you a little bit of a taste. Of course, it goes without saying that if you guys actually are interested in seeing a lot more of these photographs, I can make a proper video showing all of these photographs in detail, analyze a lot of the photographs, talk about them, till your heart's content in a video where I will scan them and put them into like a digital presentation. But at least for the new acquisitions video, I'm just going to stick to this. But yeah, I might go forward with that, at least to showcase some of the more interesting ones in better detail. And then last but not least here of the documents, we have the by far most valuable and interesting document of all of them. So this binder here is my showcase items in terms of documentation. But the item we're going to be focusing on here is the Reichstagswahl election ballot. So this election ballot is from the election of November of 1933. It was the first general election held in Germany after the Nazi takeover when Adolf Hitler was appointed chancellor in January of 1933. And in the middle of 1933, they banned all other political parties in Germany, which caused the first vote in Nazi Germany to be a one-party slate of the Nazi Party. So you can see here we have Adolf Hitler, Rudolf Hess, Wilhelm Frick, Hermann Göring, Joseph Goebbels, Ernst Röhm, and a couple of the other people that have become a little bit more obscure. However, this was a one-party ballot. So you were either voting yes for the Nazi Party and Adolf Hitler, or you were not voting at all. So of course, not much of an election, but this shows a really interesting period in German history and world history and what led to the rise of the power of the Nazis in Germany. But anyway, of course, this was in a box full of documents. I didn't realize what I had here until I had a chance to take it back to where I was staying and properly sort through it. But this single-handedly, by far, the most rare, most valuable, most historically significant piece I was able to pick up in Germany. And what makes this even sweeter is I have the original paper envelope that this would have been in. And in fact, I discovered this in a box inside the original envelope that it was sealed up in during the election of 1933. And I sent this off to a number of collectors and things like that, and they've seen a handful of the paper ballots. However, not a single one of them had ever seen the envelope, which is a huge deal. So I hope you guys enjoy looking at this, because I enjoy looking at it from time to time. It's truly a one-of-a-kind piece that I'm very, very lucky to have in my collection and share with others in an educational way. Of course, I have put up scans here, but again, very interesting piece. Feel free to visit my website as well to check out high-definition scans up close of what the ballot looks like, and especially the envelope, because as far as we've been able to find, it's likely the only one, if not one of very few in existence in the world. And then last but not least of the items I picked up in Germany, we have a couple of items that I can't show on screen here. We have two larger items. So the first item is a World War II German grain sack or mail sack. And you can see what it looks like here. It's dated 1943. So very, very interesting piece. The antique dealer that had all the East German stuff that you saw earlier had this back in a corner as well. He had a stack of like 7 or 8 of them. And again, very cool piece. I think I paid like €30 for it, so you can't go wrong at that price. And that was the best condition one. He had, again, several others. They were all mostly faded, so I picked out the best one that I could add to my collection. And then last but not least here, the very final item that I picked up in Germany was this East German banner or flag. I'm not exactly sure what this flag would have been used for. However, it really caught my eye because it's different than a standard East German flag. It has, of course, those fabric rings on it and everything else, so thought maybe it was for ceremonial purposes or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but again, it caught my eye. It was only €20, so I decided to pick it up. But anyway, that's all for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button and the notification bell, and when you're in that area, maybe hit the subscription button as well. Make sure to leave some comments down in the videos. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see more of in terms of the items in reference to this video. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye.